Hey, what's going on, everybody? Movie fan here. Let me just get this fixed real quick. The hair, I got it pulled back in a ponytail, but it's just kind of busting my balls right now. Alrighty. So, guys, it's Wednesday, and that means I'm doing some viewer comments and questions. Bam. So, let's just get this thing kick-started. My little bro from across the pond, Warren Cocking, and he asked, the weirdest horror movie I've ever seen. Man. This is going to be a cheap cop-out, but I'm sorry, it is the most bizarre horror film out there. And I'd have to be Troll 2. Like, it's just so fucking... It's goofy and it's just weird as shit. I'm going to go with Troll 2 on that one, my man. Then he asked, what was the scariest kid movie I ever saw? Man, I'm not gonna lie, I racked my brain on this one hardcore. Like, I was just like, I'm trying to think back in my childhood, was there ever a movie? Because I didn't really watch a whole lot of, like, I've honestly never seen Monster Squad. I know you're gonna lynch me, and I don't want to watch it because I'm afraid, like, that's a movie that everybody watched when they was kids. So everybody has, like, that spot in their heart for Monster Squad. I've never watched it, so I just felt like if I'd watch it now, I'd be watching it as an adult, and maybe I wouldn't quite get it, or I just would be like, this is lame, or whatever. And I feel like that's just unfair because, it is considered a classic or whatever. But no, I was trying to think, because when I was a kid, like, I watched, Friday the 13th, the Halloweens, all the mainstream shit that, we all love today. But I'm trying to think back, like the junior, like, the kid horror, and really nothing that comes to my mind. All I can think of is, and it's not really a movie, but it did make me jump pretty hardcore, and I was pretty apprehensive after that. But I have R.L. Stine's A Haunting Hour, and the TV show, and the very first episode has Bailey Madison in it. She was the little girl from Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. And anyway, she's tween in this one. Probably 11 or 12, maybe a little older. But she's obsessed with these dolls, and she has this life-size doll of her. Like, it's her buddy, her friend, her pal. And anyways, and we all know it's alive or whatever, but there's this, in the scene, they put this nanny cam, because she herself was getting suspicious that this other doll thing is, like, alive. And they put the camera, right there, and you see some, like, shadows in the hallway. And then instantly, it's just like, shortly after that, the doll pops up in front of the camera frame. And dude, like, I jumped. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I fucking shit myself almost. And then, actually, me and her was watching, me and Maya was watching together, and she did the same thing. Like, she literally, like, jumped too. But she watched it previously. So the fact that she jumped at the same time, it was just, it was effective scare. It was an effective scene. And, but anyways, but the whole episode after that, it wasn't nearly quite as creepy. But it did keep me on the edge of my seat, because I'm just like, that little fucking doll's gonna pop out at any time. So, but yeah, I would say that's the closest thing I'll qualify as far as, like, kid horror goes. So, I'm gonna say A Haunting Hour. And we have a DVD. I don't know if it's like a season 1 or not. I think it's the best stuff kind of thing. It has like 5 episodes on it. But and then finally, he asked if I ever played the first BioShock game. And I have not. I'm not much of a gamer. I'm not gonna lie to you. But about my extent of video games, now it's even less. But when I got out of high school, cause I know, like, a lot of people who, I got cousins and, my brother, they're all, fucking Simon and them, they tear it up now, and I don't play video games. Like, I just don't quite get into it anymore. When I was in high school, tore that shit up. The only thing I really kind of kept there for a while was I would always keep up with the newest wrestling video game, and I did that until about 07 or 08. In fact, I think it's Raw vs. SmackDown 2007 was the last video game I had of wrestling until this last one, the WWE 15. But up until that point, between 07 and 15, I didn't have a single one, because that's that time I kind of got out of that. I always got Madden. I hate sports. I know it sounds weird, but I hate sports. I hate watching them. I hate anything. But for some reason, when I'm playing video games, I love the most legitimate type of sport game. Like, I'm not a big fan of NFL Blitz, because to me it's just too cartoony, and I get it, it's fun to play or whatever. and it's really simple, and you just basically run into somebody who's doing power bombing and shit. And it sounds like it's to be up my alley, but I don't. I like the precision passing. I like the setting the plays up. I just like those kind of, I love the Madden 2000 whatevers. And so I usually have, I usually got those when they came out. And the GTAs was the big thing. I always got, whatever the newest GTA was. And I did that until they quit making them for PS2. And then I just recently got PS3. It was, wasn't last, it was last, no, it was year before last I got PS3. When PS4 was coming out was when I got the PS3. Might buy it for me. And I'm ashamed to say I rarely play video games on it. I really just use it as a DVD player, and we watch our Netflix and shit like that on there. But that's pretty much all I use it for. But yeah, no, so I don't really play a whole lot of video games. But my cousin was hardcore, and I always go to his house for a while. Before Maya moved in, I was just always bumming out over there. And he was always playing something or other, and BioShock was one of them. And I really thought it was a creepy looking game. And I always thought it translated pretty good to a movie, because it reminded me a lot of, and not just not the content so much, but more the style and the look of the first Silent Hill video game. Because I remember when I played that, and I was in junior high when that came out, how creepy it fucking was. And just that very opening of Silent Hill, you're the dad running through the alleys, and the cameras were just tilt on you, and it was just, it was just really creepy. And this game kind of brought that out. And I feel like, if I was to actually give it a shot and play it, I'd probably love it. But yeah, but I haven't played it myself, my man, so. But thank you. I appreciate the questions. Ghostface Kid said, if I was to ever torture somebody, whether it be in real life or a movie, what would I do? I feel like you guys got to go right for the dick. I'm being serious. I just feel like that's something I would really fucking hate if it was me strapped to a table. So if I'm clearly at that point in my life where I'm just torturing motherfuckers, I'm going for blood. I'm going right for it. So, yeah, I'm still another dick to the table or something like that, or razor blade across the pee hole. This is some really fucked up shit, and that's what I'm going for right there. Hammer on the balls. I mean, this is horrible shit that I think is disgusting, and I'd be crying, like right now. Just someone tell me, like, I'm strapped to the table, and there's like, we're going another dick to the table, run a razor blade across the pee hole, and smash your balls with a hammer. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm crying. You won. Like, whatever you want. I'll sell out anybody you want me to. Just don't do that to my genitals. I feel like that's what I do out there. I don't really have any torture for girls, because I feel like, end it. Yeah, I don't know. But that's my answer. I'm in my mind, I'm torturing dudes. I'm just mutilating their genitals. And then I'll probably kill them afterwards. But they're definitely going to have to live with that mutilated genitals for at least a week or so. So yeah, that's that one. Getting to the dark side of the Phantom's mind right there. And he goes, what started my obsession with horror? Man, that's a really tough question, because honestly, like, I don't ever remember, like, because, like, that's the weird thing, especially now, and I'm sure it's been like this for many years with different people, but this seems like, especially when I got out of high school, horror was just a different entity altogether. You know what I mean? Like, you're never just like, hey, you want to start watching some romantic comedies? I can get you into it, You don't hear that. You don't hear, like, hey, you want to get some action films? It just seems like horror is that one thing that it is, like, separate from other movies. It's on a different level, if you will. And, like, even sci-fi to an extent can kind of be, but I don't even think it really is. Like, it's nothing. No genre is like horror. That's just all there is to it. There is just no other genre like horror. And it seems like horror's the one you always hear, like, hey, you should start watching horror movies. I can get you into horror movies. I'll break you into horror movies. Here's what you should watch. And I don't remember it being like that. Like, I just remember as a young kid, and I'm talking 3 or 4, I watched The Shining and just fucking loved it. And it terrified me. Like, I was honestly scared shitless of The Shining as a kid. Those 2 little girls at the end of the hall scared the shit out of me. The woman in the bathtub scared the shit out of me. But I was with my uncle's house, and he was always fucking watching it. And it just seems like that's like his movie and shit. Like, that's like his go-to, And, or maybe just to calm me down. Like, maybe he's just like, hey, fam's coming over, I'll just throw Shining, I'll keep him occupied. But it worked, and I would just watch all the time. And even though, like, I'd go back to my house, at the end of the weekend or whatever, just fucking horrified, afraid to fall asleep. Like, literally, I had the only room downstairs in this farmhouse, which is fucked up. And I'm sitting there in my bed, just fucking scared shitless or whatever. And I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, like, if I close my eyes, I'm going to open them, those twins are going to be there. I'm going to open my eyes, and that old woman's going to be there, trying to strangle me. And that next weekend, I'd be like, yeah, it's fucking Shining. Let's throw it in there. And then, of course, you move on. You keep throwing in scarier movies. I think the real appeal came from the fact that I'm this age, and 6 or 7, and just the way that my parents never really censored what I watch, but they would always be like, do you really want to watch another horror movie? Like, you can watch something else. There's more things out there to watch. I remember it was my step grandmother at the time. She was just very prudish on everything. And I remember like at a young age, me and Lynch stayed there. We rarely stayed at her house at all, just because usually staying at her house meant you went to church. And even at a young age, even though at that time I was a believer, I fucking hated church. I just did not want to go, and I just didn't like the fact that I had to get up really early and get dressed. I mean, it's just like you're killing my Sunday here. But I remember, like, she asked, like, once, like, what kind of movies do I like or whatever, because they didn't even have a VCR, if I remember correctly. Like, I think they maybe got a VCR, like, later on, like, it's like an attempt to keep us, like, hey, we got a VCR now, you guys can come over and watch your movies over here. And I just remember, like, we watched a movie one time, and she's like, what kind of movies do you watch? And I, told her, like, Friday the 13th or some bullshit like that. And just that look of repulsion on her face, and I was just like, I'm doing something right. Like, literally, like, for me to be on the outside of this, and I like that. It's just that, I don't know, it's just that feel, it's that punk rock, rock and roll feel of just being on the outside of the system. And I guess that's part of that whole, we are on the outside. Like, mainstream Hollywood, they're kind of embarrassed of horror films. And, I got a lot of artsy fucking, buddies that, we all love movies, we love cinema. But, they're more like, The Godfather and Citizen Kane. And I'm just like, well, Halloween and Night of the Living Dead. And they're like, horror films, that's not. And so it just, I don't know, you're always on the, and I like being the underdog. I like kind of, be like that guy on the outside when everybody's just like fucking sucking off, like Gone with the Wind. And I'm like, no, fuck Gone with the Wind. You want to hear, a really good movie, Carnival of Souls, there's your fucking classic right there, And so I think that's part of it as well, and just the fact that, I was always told, like, that's the thing, my mom didn't care what I watched, but she always kind of challenged it with, like, well, you wouldn't want to watch this because it'll give you nightmares. And that just made me want to watch it more. Like, I was just like, oh, holy shit, like, if this is really that bad, let's just see. And I remember she pulled that shit with me on, with Last House on the Left, The Exorcist, and something else. And when I got around to watching it, I was like, what, for real? Like, this, you thought this was giving me nightmares? Oh, and I don't know if you guys remember those, like, and I hear they were fake now. I'm not sure what the real story is on these, so don't crucify me for not knowing. But you guys remember, like, the Many Faces of Death videos? Now, I can understand a parent not wanting their kids to watch that. But once again, when she's telling me, like, I couldn't watch, I should, second think watching, Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever, and then she throws the Many Faces of Death on that list, you just gotta watch it. So I don't know, I think it's just that, it is that whole, the fact that it is, like, the darker side of cinema. That's what kind of drew me to it, I guess, So that's the best answer I can give you, my man. I know I kind of rambled and went off on tangents there, but yeah, my obsession with horror, I guess, is just at a young age watching The Shining, and then from there, just kind of watching what you're not supposed to watch. And as a young boy, you don't, I had no access. The kids today have, like, internet and shit, like, they have on their phones. I didn't have that shit. Like, if I would have had that shit in junior high, I would have masturbated all the fucking time. I would have been like, titties, and that would have been it. So as a young boy, the closest thing you get to that is, like, to seeing titties is in movies. And typically, if you watch a slasher movie, you're going to see some titties. And so I think that's another part of it. Just, that young boy and always is just like, oh, I'm going to see some titties in the shower here. And then you would see them for, like, the 3.5 seconds before, they turn around, they cover them up or whatever. But you're just like, oh, I saw some titties. Like, there it is. Thank you. I remember we watched Phantasm as a kid. And that's the only thing my mom was really like, no, is anytime nudity would come up and she knew it was coming up, we'd have to, like, turn our heads or cover, put the blanket, just water until she said, And I remember we had this Afghan, I don't know if I don't have an Afghan here. I hate Afghans now, but it was like, it was netted kind of thing. You can see through it, so I would always put that on there. And, like, I had an older cousin. He's about 10 years older than me. But he was okay to watch it, but then he fucking busts me on that shit, right? And I'm like, bro, we're on the same fucking side here. But anyways, we're all staying up watching Phantasm. Like, the first time I ever saw Phantasm. And early on, the woman in lavender who turned out to be a tall man, she takes her top off and fucking tits. And so right off the bat, my mom's like, guys, turn around or whatever. And so I put the cover over my head, but I'm looking right through her. And fucking cuz is just like, oh, dude, he can see that, Christie. He's watching through the thing, and I'm just like, you fucking for real? And then sure enough, I had to turn around. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so I guess that it's that all those put together is why I love horror. So thank you, Ghostface Kid. I appreciate it. All right, well, I was busting out some trivia. I had been kind of slacking on that lately, but I busted out some craft trivia, and once again, I just hit up a few things, and I got more responses on that than anything else. Byron Orlock said he hopes they release the craft on a Blu-ray next year. I guess next year will be the 20th anniversary of the craft, so he's really hoping for that. Once again, I haven't made that jump yet. I haven't made that leap to Blu-ray. For me, I love cinema. I love film, so I don't really care. Like, I don't know. Like, I watched oh fuck! I'll tell you. I watched Last House on the Left not long ago. I'm gonna be reviewing it this weekend. Spoiler alert. Anyways, but I'm watching it, and on my DVD, of course, it has that grainy feel. I'm like, you know what? I would not want this cleaned up. Like, I don't want this crystal clear. Like, to me, that is what makes this movie great. I don't want to take Chainsaw Massacre, polished up and everything, because that's the allure of these movies. And there's just something about, I don't know. Now, I don't say I want this all the time, but I do like when you get a DVD that is just clearly a transfer from VHS, and you get some tracking lines every now and then. And to me, it's just like, no, that's my childhood. Like, I grew up on this shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, as long as I can, if it's not just ridiculously fucking fuzzy or what, if it's visible, I'm okay. Like, I don't give a shit what it looks like. Like, I don't care about the quality. As long as, I can see the movie and I can know what's going on, I'm good. So I've yet to make that transition to Blu-ray. I feel like, by the time, when Blu-ray gets to where DVDs are now, where there's basically no more DVDs, like when DVDs are pretty much the VHSs, and, you can only find like 7 of them at Walmart and everything else is Blu-ray, well then, yeah, I'll switch over then. And even then, I'm not getting rid of my DVDs. Like, I might want to do a whole, I do a conversion. I ain't fucking converting shit. You can watch them on the Blu-ray player, so I'll watch them on the Blu-ray player. But yeah, then I would start, filling up my Blu-rays or whatever. But I don't see a point in it, so yeah, I'm not big on it. Now, I will say I do like the fact that, you get some more special features, because I am a special features junkie. I do love, cast interviews and all that kind of shit, so that's one plus. I mean, I'm not saying like they're completely useless, but as far as everybody's like, well, it looks so, the picture's so clear, I'm like, I don't care about the picture. Fuck you and your picture. Now this one, okay, I don't know. I'm guessing like maybe he just didn't see it, but normally when I post my the trivia, I always put the movie first, and then a space, and then the little tidbit right there. And I don't know, I can't remember what I wrote down there, but I wrote the craft, and then such and such, and then Marcus Johnson. He just typed in the comments section, he's like, the craft. I didn't know how to respond to that. Like, yep, that's the movie I'm talking about, because it's posted right there. It is very odd to me, so I don't know. But I didn't have much comments, so I thought I'd throw it in there. So, yes, Marcus, it was the craft. So, and then 13 Wolfman, one of the tidbits I dropped was that the fact that, all 4 of the girls in the craft, my hoodie keeps riding up, like my hair is just... Anyways, in the craft, all the girls were in their 20s. They weren't no longer teenagers. And he went ahead and just dropped, like, the ages for me. He said Robin Tooney, is that how you pronounce her last name? Was 24. Nev Campbell was 23. I always butchered this girl's name. Fairuza Balk was 22. But Rachel True was 29 years old. So I thought that was kind of interesting right there. So thank you, 13 Wolfman. Appreciate that. So yeah, I reviewed Hostel last week. Actually, yeah, it was last week. And Todd All Things Nerd said that he kind of he has the same opinions of me on the series. Like where 1 was just excellent. He loves part 1 of Hostel, but didn't care for part 2 at all, and then just didn't watch 3. But he also said he heard good things. That's why I heard some mixed things. I heard but yeah. So I threw that out there. And finally, Alex from Ricky Shore hit me up, and so typically what happens is I always post like once every few months I will post these little sonnets made up of horror taglines. And so I posted one, and then he's like, hey, did you write this? And I couldn't take complete credit for it because it is composed of, taglines or whatever. So I told him, I said, it's a horror sonnet just made up of taglines. But I thought I'd go ahead and just kind of give insight into why I do this, because I actually, on my Facebook page, I have a shitload of these, like literally from the beginning when the fandom first started doing the reviews. Every time I'd review a movie, I'd always save a tagline. Some horror films have multiple taglines. I just picked the best one. But what happened was, I don't know, it's been a long time ago. But in one of the neighboring towns, it's a college town. And so I'm up there just bumming around. They had like this little like free magazine, like a little zine, whatever. And I pick it up and it had a David Lynch a David Cronenberg on the front cover, and they did this big interview with him. And I was like, wow, it's free. So I just took it home and read it. And ended up reading it like, article to article or cover to cover. And anyway, in the very back, it was right before the award season. So whatever, I forget what year it was, but it was the Oscar season. They took all the Oscar taglines and they just started making poetry out of it, right? So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, fast forward to later, I'm jumped on the movie Phantom. I jumped in the show, and this was way back in the day when my show was actually I combined all the segments I do now. I do daily segments, but at the time I threw them all together into one retarded last hour-long show, which I think most people just got sick of, and that's why the ratings were low. But when I first started out, though, I was like, I was coming up with the different things, and I was like, well, I'm going to be doing all of my advertising on Facebook, clearly. At this point, I didn't really have a YouTube following at all. So I create the Facebook page of Trent Ramsey and everything. And so I was just like, well, the one thing I will always do is I'll bust trivia out about the movies I reviewed and everything, and I'll bust out, quotes and whatever. And I was like, I should do the tagline thing, and I was like, I'll make it a sonnet. And to me, it seems like it's like one of those dying art forms, poetry forms. And I don't consider myself a poetry fan or anything like that, but I just thought it'd be kind of ridiculous to actually make, a tagline sonnet. You know what I'm saying? To create a sonnet out of taglines. So, I just started doing that. Literally, I would just kind of put them together. When I get enough of them to kind of fit into a sonnet, then I would ship it out there and everything. So, this is kind of the order. Like I said, it's just something that I just started goofing around with and just kind of continue to this day. So, if you guys ever see this random piece of poetry that just kind of makes no sense but has a lot of cool lines in it, odds are it's the horror tagline sonnet right there. So, all right, well, guys, that is it. I want to thank everybody who helped me out this week. That's awesome. Like I said, I'm always down for answering questions, comments, whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to necessarily be horror related, but I do love horror questions. But if you guys have other questions, I've answered some ridiculous questions in the past. So believe me, it don't matter what it is, you can ask it. I'm not too shy to answer your questions. Give me some hate mail. I'll take some hate mail. I'm not above answering some hate mail. Got questions for any of my guests I've ever had in the past. Most of them, I'm not gonna lie, most of them have been busy. I'm not gonna lie, my new job keeps me busy too. So that's why we hadn't had a whole lot of the outsiders on here like we normally do, like the Corn Children. They actually they moved away, but I've been trying to get Lynch on here a little bit more, and Jimbo, which I love having Jimbo. He's only been on here once or twice. And he's like me, he's a huge horror fan, but he's also extremely lazy. Retarded lazy. And he just had a kid. Him and Lynch both have kids. And it's funny because before they had kids and I was doing the show, they're just lazy and didn't want to show up to do the show. And now they have kids and they're just like, well, we got kids. I got to take care of the kid. It's like, really? You just don't want to show up. You literally, before, you just had a different excuse. That's all it was. So, but they're both in that same fucking boat. So, fuck them both. No, I'm joking. I love them. But anyways, so if you have any questions for them, believe me, that'd be the best way to get a question or an answer out of them is, for me to just be like, hey, they want to know this about you or whatever. So yeah. And of course, Maya, she's always open to answering questions as well. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. So, till next time.